الموجودين سمايل. 1 2 3. الموجودين سمايل.
قولي لنا متى نوقف.
1 2 3.
خلاص لا تعبنا.
ما أنا من جالس يعيد الصوت. الموجودين سمايل.
اوكي قولي لنا متى نوقف.
1 2 3.
زين لحظة. زين سويت ميوت اول خلاص تو ما بنعاد الصوت. خر مقلب. انزين حلو. ممتاز. 141 شخص داخل. اللايف بدأ. لحظة. اوكي لا تو هالمرة انا فاتح. تو ما نعرف نتكلم انجليزي عربي.
انجليزي اسامه.
كيف؟ انجليزي ايه اوكي. ما اعرف انكت انجليزي. زين مشكلة فضيحة تو لايف لازم ما اتكلم. ان شاء الله كل حد ساكت جالس يطلع صوت واتساب مالي. ايوه والله حلو 160. يلا نحن ان شاء الله خلال 5 دقائق نكون بدينا او حتى قبل. الشباب يعني يعتمد عليكم. Okay, depends on you when you want to start. We are ready and we are live.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ألف لام ميم را. تلك آيات الكتاب والذي أنزل إليك من ربك الحق ولكن أكثر الناس لا يؤمنون. الله الذي رفع السماوات بغير عمد ترونها ثم استوى على العرش وسخر الشمس والقمر كل يجري لأجل مسمى يدبر الأمر يفصل الآيات لعلكم بلقاء ربكم توقنون. وهو الذي مد الأرض وجعل فيها رواسي وأنهارا ومن كل الثمرات جعل فيها زوجين اثنين يغشي الليل النهار إن في ذلك لآيات لقوم يتفكرون. صدق الله العظيم.
أحسنت عبد الله.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks to each one of you who joined us today. It's a pleasure that we could make this meeting during this unfortunate circumstances. We would like to welcome our doctors and participants, those of you who have been with us for years, as well as those who join us for the first time. Welcome you all. This year, we choose our theme to be about the artificial intelligence based in its huge importance and significant power in improving the future of medicine. We have prepared different talks presented by different doctors who are specialized in this field to answer your questions regarding our topic. We wish each and every one of you a wonderful experience in collecting the new information. And remember, whatever you learn will absolutely be helpful for you in the future. Next, we would like to share with you a short flashback video containing a wonderful moment from our previous meetings.
Sorry for the inconvenience. Sorry. Just a second. We'll open the audio and better screen view.
Okay, I hope the video now will be much better.
National General Assembly, President Sultan Qaboos University, and it's a great honor and the team of officials for the previous Dr. Ahmed Al-Saeed, Sharif Al-Alawi, med school.
Okay, Zainab and the team, you shall continue.
And now let's boost our energy with a small activity presented by our friend Yaqeen.
So good afternoon, everyone. We're waiting for the picture. We need a picture to start our activity. Osama, please, can you, the second slide from the presentation.
Yeah, sure. Amazing.
Okay, so as you can see here, okay, so as you can see here, we have this table with all of the alphabetical letters, and each letter corresponds to a number. Actually, these are random numbers. So what you have to do is to find the sum of the numbers that correspond to the letters of your name, in addition to the sum of your birthday. For example, I'm Yaqeen. My name gives me 56 points, and my birthday actually gives me 18 points. So if I add them together, I get 74 points. So each one of you should find the number, and then you shall write it here in the chat, and the highest number is going to win with us. You can start. You have 3 minutes.
عادي نحن نشارك؟
أيوة كل حد.
Okay.
For the birthday, we count the month and the day only?
Yes, without the year.
Okay, thank you.
Can we use a calculator?
Of course.
شما لحقنا.
Till now, 79 is the highest. No, 90. We got 100 from Rayan. Not Rayan, Ruqayya. $106. 127, 142, 53, 1,000. Yes, first name. So till now, 153 is the highest, but you still have 30 seconds if anyone wants to participate.
What is the highest number?
153.
في كأنه مصطفى حاط 1000 ولا كم؟ 1000.
كاتب لول جنبه.
أيوه.
ما انتبهت.
So time is up. And 153, let me just check the name. Where did it go?
في زيادة آخر شيء ريان، في رقية 199، في زهور 116.
199, I just saw this. So 199, Ruqayya Muhammad Abdullah, you're the winner. And they will contact you later
في
on.
216.
But the time was up.
Yeah. Check the
Yeah, we can take other participants. So Ruqayya Muhammad Abdullah, they will contact you later on for they'll give you something because you won. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Yaqeen. Okay, now we'll have the talk for the Vice President. Maybe he's muted.
I'm unmuted, right? So, dear doctors, distinguished guests, OC, and NGA family, I'm Meet Mallawati. It's my pleasure standing before you today, welcoming you to the first ever online NGA in the history of Medsco, and at the same time, marking the 10th NGA taking place on 1st September today till the 5th of September. So some of you will be wondering, what's the NGA? The NGA is the National General Assembly, where all healthcare students from all around Oman gather annually to discuss topics that are related to medicine and issues concerning them through the scope of the different standing committees we have in Medsco. This takes us to the two main events in the gathering, which are the standing committee sessions and the election of the next team of officials in the plenary. The NGA is the main highlight event of the term, in which a term comes to an end and a new story starts for Medsco, starting with welcoming the new TO. This year, not only medical and healthcare students around Oman gather, but we also have our beloved friends, medical students from IFMSA Bahrain, to share experiences with them and make lifelong friendships. So I will take this chance to welcome all the Bahraini delegation. We also have been working restlessly day and night for the past 3 months, going through exams, university, To organize such an amazing NGA, the first in its kind with new challenges, obstacles never tackled before. Alongside the OC, the TO and the sessions teams have been working closely to ensure high quality sessions with a lot to learn, enjoy, and actively participate in discussions and activities. This is your first time to attend or not? We promise you a remarkable week full of active participation, fun, and surprises. And before ending the speech, I would like to thank the OC once again and thank the team. Without them, this year won't be the way it was. Well, let me rephrase it. They weren't just a team, but a second family. I had the pleasure and honor to work with them. And those are the team of officials of 2019-2020, starting President Ali Al-Wardi, Vice President for Strategic Development and Sustainability, Arij Al-Ma'mari, National Officer on Medical Education, Manar Al-Shihi, National Officer on Public Health, Riham Al-Zijjali, National Officer on Human Rights and Peace, Ismail Al-Shihi, National Officer on Research Exchange, Abdul Majid Al-Blushi, National Officer on Professional Exchange, Munzar Abu Daraz, SKU Local President Al-Muayyid Al-Musa, and lastly, annual LC President Aman Al-Raisi. I hope you enjoyed this experience and make out of it long life friends. Thank you for listening, and now we'll give the floor and mic to the head of OC.
Assalamu alaikum. I hope my voice is clear for you. Hi everyone, I'm Salha Saadi, head of OC. Thank you, Maitham, for the great speech. I'm glad that we can finally welcome you all and give you some information about NGA and artificial intelligence that OC and session team have worked tirelessly on them the past few days. We have received many questions from you and all the participants. So we have prepared a survival kit. We have already sent it for you. I hope that you can enjoy and benefit from the survival kit. So this NGA, or the 10th NGA, is not like any other NGAs. It is the first online NGA. This was the biggest challenge for us as an organizing committee. We tried our best to make this NGA fun, entertaining, but with hard work and the creativity of the community medical students, we are able to present you this NGA. So the 10th NGA allows you to explore the standing committees, SCOMI, SCOP, SCORP, SCORI, and SCOBI. I hope that I didn't forget one of them. In a new, exhilarating, and different way. So by using Zoom app, our session team have prepared some new ideas for you, our family, so stay tuned. Our main goal is creating a place that you can learn and enjoy at the same time. You can learn from our social programs and learn more about artificial intelligence from our team events. So before ending my speech, because I think now you are bored and you want something entertaining, I just want to say that I'm so thankful for all our organizing committee for their endless effort. Thanks a lot. We truly wish you having a great time in that NGA. Thanks a lot.
Okay, now let's view the video. Just a second. I hope this goes well. Just before starting the video, I know I always said everyone please open the cameras and the videos. Now I'm requesting to close the cameras so that because of the technical problems, so that we can the video can go well. So yeah. Okay, so let's do it again. Thanks to all. Okay, we have other video. The media team has many videos to show us. So let's be with them. I think you'll like this video.
حبيب أخيرا خلصت اللمسات الأخيرة. نعم متحمس أقربها. ها هذا شكله حسام. قف وقته. لحظة جاي. مستحيل تصدق. مالك حسام؟
الشمس شويتني شواية. زين يا زين، اتصلت بي عشان تراويني شي فنان.
هو ما مجرد شيء، هو اختراع الزميل.
وات؟ اختراع مو
اختراع فنان ما حد شافه البر، لا في العروض ولا في أفلام الخيال العلمي. أتحداك إنك تندهش أول ما تشوفه.
حمستني، أبغى أشوف.
اختراعي هو.
Okay, يمكن I hope you all know the thing that they are talking about. Now open the videos, please, all. Yeah. Perfect. إبداع الميديا تيم، إبداع. Okay. Zainab, unmute and spotlight.
Now we are pleasure to welcome Dr. Adari to give us a short speech about artificial intelligence applications and challenges. Please welcome Dr. Adari.
Okay, I'm searching for Dr. Adari. Please, Dr. Adari, unmute yourself.
السلام عليكم، كيفكم؟
عليكم السلام.
So do you hear me?
Yes, we hear you.
Yeah, how are you all? So I see all medical students. I already miss you all, those who I know and those who I don't know. So I have one thing to tell you first, that I'm very impressed that although you passed through all these struggles and delays of exams and all of this, and still you are producing something fruitful out of it. Congratulations on this national gathering, and you're amazing. You're really amazing. I'm proud of you. So yeah, let's start. So my talk today will be about artificial intelligence. Should I share my screen?
Yes, you can do it. No, just I'll give you permission.
شفت وجوه معروفة كثير، ريحتني شوي.
Allah يخليك. Yes, so now you can share your screen.
Yes, okay. Okay, so my talk will be about artificial intelligence in medicine, and I'll talk mainly about application and a few challenges. I will not go through the technical part, which will be covered in the next presentation. So I'll talk in general, as I mentioned. And first, I want to ask you, I don't know if you will allow participation and interaction. So I want to ask if you are aware of any AI applications that we are using in our daily life, or is it something fancy that we don't have yet?
Yes, so anyone who wants to participate, you can raise your hand, or you can just open up your mic and talk.
Or in chat, they can participate. That's possible.
Yeah, also chat.
Just to save time,
Yeah, sure.
Siri, Alexa, cleaning robots. Well, everyone knows Siri. So Siri is very famous. Instagram algorithm, Google Translate, Google Home, smart homes. Exactly. So yeah, we are using actually AI application almost every day. If you can just take, for example, emails. Emails, specifically Gmail, is full of AI applications. So here you can see automatically your email is categorize your inbox into primary, social, and promotions or any other categorization. And this happens by default without you even noticing it. I don't know. Okay. Then customize auto reply. So sometimes when you receive an email, it gives you hints what kind of short reply you can give. And this is AI by itself. Nudging reply. So if you don't respond to any email that came to your inbox, it will give you like after 3 days, 4 days, a nudge that do you want to reply to this email? So if we move from email to Google Maps, for example, nowadays no one is moving from his place to another place, especially in Muscat, without checking his Google Maps to avoid traffic. So this is a lot of data collected by satellite to give you where is the traffic and how much time you need to reach your destination. Siri, as you mentioned, and Google Home, which I love. Radiology reporting. I don't know any of you, if you have any chance to visit radiology reporting room, where the radiologists actually, they don't type their reports, but they are actually talking through like an audio recorder that convert the speech into written texts. Translation, as you mentioned. But if you see all of this, and wherever we go in media and conferences, even when we sit with our friends, you hear people say AI, and whoever is specialized in AI, everyone say, wow, that's awesome. So do you think this is something actually like, are we magnifying the thing? Is it something inflated or is it something real? What do you think? Is it a problem solver for all of our problems in health, economic, business, or whatever? Young generation, I think they believe in AI. Yes. So Arish say yes. Thank you, Arish. Surgical robots. Okay, so let's go back here. If you see here, there is something called the hype cycle chart, where if there is any new application or technology, there is a trigger for that technology, and suddenly it goes toward the peak. And in the peak, everyone will believe that this is the problem solver. So it will solve all of our problems. And then with time, after application and trial and error, they will discover it is not. It's not in real life, it's not. And then a lot of modification and performance, like testing the performance of whatever algorithm or application, then it will start to enlight again and it reach a plateau of productivity. So where exactly are we in terms of AI in our era now? Are we at the trigger, at the peak, or at the slope or plateau? Peak, yes. I think we are going toward the peak. So don't be that optimistic. Still, we are trying AI algorithms, and it's not all of them has reached like application, but still they are under test. So. In general, I don't know if all of you are aware of what does artificial intelligence mean. So I will give you a very, very wide and general definition. So it is basically where we stimulate the human intelligence in machines, and that machines were programmed to think like human. And mainly these machines need to master two things: the learning ability of a human brain and problem solving. Once these are handled by the machine, it can perform the task that we are asking it to do. So from here, we can divide artificial intelligence into three parts: narrow, general, and super intelligent. The narrow one is the one that is all over the world nowadays. So they are teaching the machine to do particular action. The general one is the one that we are still aiming for, and we see in movies, where there is like a machine that can do multitasks like a human being. And super intelligent is the robots that we see only in movies again, where there is a robot that acts like a human, it solves a problem, it talks, it runs, it does everything. And we are still far away from this. We are still working in the narrow artificial intelligence. So if you think, how can we mimic the human brain? So if you go back for your neurological courses, basic neurology, you know that whatever task we are handling, we need this synapses between neurons. So in artificial intelligence, they are trying to mimic these synapses through what is called neural network. So we have an input, then an output, and in between them, there is a lot of synapses between the algorithms. It can be as simple as this or as complicated as this one. And here, the programmer, he will be able to, he is actually the one who feeding the machine the input, and he's waiting for the output, and everything in between is hidden. So this is all handled by the machine where it teaches itself. Are you following so far, or I'm looking boring? Or am I fast? Well, I wish we are in a theater now so we can interact, whatever. So from here, we can say that AI is an umbrella. It's the whole umbrella, and underneath it, you can find a lot of terminology that you will came across as you read a lot about it or you listen to videos. And it is machine learning, deep learning, and neural network. And I will not go through these in details because they will be handled in the technological presentation after this talk. So just to be familiar with these terms. What is written in there? I see something written. Shema or something? Okay. So some of you will say, okay, now we are using, for example, Excel. And in Excel, we are giving for example, a database, and we are asking the program in Excel, for example, to calculate the mean or to go through complex formulas to give us certain numbers. But here you are giving the computer data, and you are already programmed for example, Excel, to do certain formulas, and then you are waiting for a predicted output. But in artificial intelligence, you are giving the data, for example, let's say X-rays of patients with pneumonia. Then you give the machine an output that these X-rays belongs to patients who are having pneumonia. And then you will feed it another X-rays for patients who do not have pneumonia. The machine will take this data and the output, and then it will teach itself continuously on this data till it finds an algorithm to be able to differentiate between pneumonia and non-pneumonia chest X-ray. And from there, you need to take that algorithm that the machine constructed by itself into a new data set and figure out if it is valid or not valid, and if it is predictive or not. Is that clear? So this is the difference basically between what computer algorithm that we are using in our daily computer exercises and the machine learning itself. Well, I hate this one way speaking. Whatever. So if you go back to artificial intelligence, it's not something new. It has been there since 1950, but the word artificial intelligence by itself was coined in 1955 by John McCarthy in their Dartmouth meeting. And since then, there was no much improvement or advancement in artificial intelligence field, basically because there were a lot of high expectation and there were a lot of funding, but no yield during this era. And then in 2000 again, something happened where artificial intelligence thrived again. What happened actually is this. So there was an AI researcher who built a database of images, and it contained around 3 million images. And he posted it as a challenge for all computer science people, where he challenged them to be able to teach the machine to recognize these images. And out of 3 million images, he was giving a score for each computer scientist. And till 2011, they were very poor performance. So here is 100% wrong estimation or image recognition. And the more to the bottom score means it is more perfect. So up to 2011, all scores were not doing that much. But in 2012, there was a team from Canada who implemented something called convoluted neural network, and they were the first team who scored very good. And they reached
ماشي اقصد يعني انا وزهراء.
So since then, after they got the convoluted neural network.
I'm sorry, doctor. I just muted everyone. You can just unmute yourself. I'm sorry.
Exactly. Okay, never mind. So since then, all artificial intelligence thrived again, and now most of the applications are using convoluted neural network and deep learning. So if you see so far that AI depends mainly on analyzing data and predicting output, but all of this will not happen unless you have data, and that data should be a very good quality data in order to get a very good quality program. So, and here we apply the GIGO, which is garbage in, garbage out. So if you feed your system bad quality data, you will get bad quality program that will not be applied in general. So you need to check your data very, very well. So I'll skip this. Now, if we go as medical students, if you go back to big data in healthcare, what kind of big data do we have in healthcare? So if you want to apply AI, for example, what kind of data you want to collect? Medical
Patient's
record,
history.
Patient's records, patient test results, exactly. So first of all, before we go to that, let's divide medical data, or in general, any big data, into two types. There is the structured data, which means these data are the ones that you can categorize, either numbers or like yes or no, present, absent, tumor, non-tumor, benign or malignant. And these ones are called structured data. These ones are really very easy to handle in AI research. And the other type is unstructured, which means they are embedded, like either in text format, images, audio, or videos, where you need to work a lot on them to clean them, to make them more accessible by computer algorithm, because the computer will take whatever you give it to it. It's not like a human brain. So if you go, for example, this is TrackCare. I don't know if you are aware of this, but in TrackCare, when you open the patient's file, you will see a lot of data in the left side. And you have you have the clinical notes, episode list, vital signs, or results, all orders, attached documents, and all of this you need to go through them in order to find out what is happening with the patient and to plan the diagnosis, to plan the treatment based on your diagnosis. So if we divide them into structured and unstructured, what do you think about the red and green? So the red will be structured or unstructured, the green will be structured or unstructured. What do you think? Quiz. Red is structured and green is unstructured. Yes, actually it is yes, because the red ones are mainly less. Oh, it is the answer was there, I think. Okay, whatever. So the green are mainly the red are structured, where you can very simply tabulate them and categorize them. The green are the unstructured, and these are the hard part. This is the hard part. So what is happening in real life? Clinical systems, as you see, it's built to isolate different data. And then if you want to deal with big data, you need to integrate them in a third space. And that third space is not there yet in our EHR. So where is that third space currently? Actually, that third space is the physician brain. It's your brain. So you try to collect all this information in your brain, find out the diagnosis, plan the treatment, and deliver it. But this will be, for example, some people will say, yes, but we are doing great so far. We can handle this data, whatever. But actually, maybe you think it is right, but if you see the estimation, how much data we are collecting every day from patients, and specifically like healthcare data, it can reach up to 2,300 exabytes, and 1 exabyte is 1 billion gigabyte. How much your brain can handle? It's not easy at all. And this information or data is coming from everything that happens in patient's life, his behaviors, his lifestyle, his drugs chart, his medical claims, mobile data and wearables, and so forth. Due to this flood of data in healthcare, it leads to really shortening the time of doctors to patient, direct doctor to patient face-to-face time to 33%. And the rest of the physician time is for desktop work, paperwork, admin work, and meetings. And this leads to a lot of a problem like diagnostic errors, treatment errors, waste of resources, inefficiencies in workflows, and inequality and inadequate time between the patients and clinician. And this ultimately affect the triple aim of healthcare that was proposed by National Institute of Health in America. So the triple aim is to improve patients' health, improve population health, and reduce cost. And because of all of this data, we are actually shuffling the whole thing. We are not getting what we are aiming for. And on top of that, the whole healthcare system are going toward precision medicine instead of what is called one-size-fits-all medicine. So previously, what was happening, for example, if all of these patients are having colorectal cancer, they will receive a protocol of treatment, and we can see some of them will benefit, some of them will have no benefit, and some of them even will get adverse even from the protocol. But the future is going toward precision medicine. And in precision medicine, we take all patients who are having colorectal cancer, we do a lot of data collection from them, all aspects, either like genomic, lifestyle, health history, medical records, everything. And based on their information and their data, we divide the patients into groups, and each group will have his own personalized protocol in order to find who will benefit and who will not. I hope everything is clear so far. So one thing about AI as well, that the more data you have and the more data you feed your machine, the better decision you will get, and then better produce you will have, then you will apply it into more users and so on. So the more data, the better your system will get. And one very particular example and a prominent example for that is Google Translate. When we were translating anything like 10 years ago or 5 years ago, it was really horrible. It gives us something like weird. But now, because everyone is using it, it uses all this data in order to improve itself. So now Google Translate is really doing amazing. So, okay, let's do something like, let's do exercises. So now let's work like AI professional, although we are not, but let's do it. So I will give you like a question, and then you tell me how can you apply AI into that particular like healthcare problem or healthcare question. Is that okay? So what I need from you, I will give you the question that I need to answer, and you will tell me what kind of data from healthcare we can collect in order to figure out how to solve that question. So for example, if I'm a cardiologist, if we are all cardiologists, and we have patients who are coming with atrial fibrillation in late stage, where it is really the treatment options are very narrow, and maybe they are coming in devastating state. So how can we really detect AF earlier before it caused any problem? So what kind of data, for example, if you are thinking this way, I want to detect AF patient early before they come to the hospital with like AF for a long time. So what kind of data I need to check or to collect from this patient, and how? Is that clear? ECG, history, heart rate and rhythm. Okay. Well, it is ECG, heart rate and rhythm. That is right. But how? So will you call the patient to come to the hospital and take his ECG every time he comes? Or will you train him how to measure his pulse? Actually, here we can use the technology in order to collect the data, even if the patient is not aware that he is having any arrhythmias. So here comes the Apple Watch, for example. And luckily, FDA approved the Apple Watch ECG application for research and for clinical care. So now, because it is very accurate and it can detect, it has been found that 97% accuracy and sensitivity in detecting atrial fibrillation in patients. So these patients who are at risk, they are given this watch, and it will keep feeding his EHR directly to his doctor office with his ECG continuously. This will save, imagine how much it will save patients from visit to the hospital. It can predict everything earlier, and it can help a lot in saving lives. You can see how wearable technology is embedded into our life, especially in our health. I think all of you, if you show me your hands, I think all of you are wearing this smartwatch with lots of health applications. So maybe one day when you graduate, you will see a patient who comes to, he will not talk to you, he will show you his wearables, and you can detect what is happening to that patient. And now even they are thinking of smart hat or smart headbands for patients who are having migraine, to predict the migraine before it happens, so the patient can get a prophylaxis. Smart bra for detection of breast cancer. Smart shoes for diabetic foot circulation. You can imagine how it is coming very soon. And you can collect data very easily. So the phone will be a major tool in healthcare, where it has all the apps that collect information about your physiology and what is happening in your body. So you will see from surgical tool, there will be a phone in between, embedded in between them. Okay, the other question is, for example, you want to diagnose skin cancer without biopsy. So what kind of information you will collect? I can't access the chat, okay. So no one wants to be a dermatologist? Smart app for images. Ethnicity and skin tone grouping. Are you racist? Sorry, I don't mean it. Cell size. Mobile application that use a camera, a picture of the affected skin. Perfect. Saleh Al-Maskari. Saleh, you answered it right. So without biopsy, so they tried taking pictures of the skin lesions by whatever camera, and then feed it into a machine and tell the machine, this is cancer, this is not cancer. And with time, so they're collecting skin lesion images, and with time they found that the AI algorithm was like competing with 21 board-certified dermatologists in determining skin lesions from the picture itself, without biopsy, no pathology, nothing, only the picture of the skin lesion. So see how fancy it is, and it will save a lot. For example, a patient who has a skin lesion, he can take a picture, send it to the doctor without any visit, without like the hassle of going to the doctor. Okay, what about if you want to check if your patient is adhering to his medication and he's compliant with the treatment? This actually is really weird, and it surprised me. So what they found, and it was FDA approved, they were inserting small chips inside the tablets of patient who, for example, who is having Alzheimer or Parkinson, or no one is taking care of him. And that pill has that sensor. Once it reaches the stomach and it reacts with gastric juice, it sends immediately certain figures and like data into the doctor's, into an app, in the doctor's phone or in the computer. So it's telling the doctor that the patient has taken his medication or he doesn't take his medication. See how fancy life will get low. Then the robots, and the most commonly used robot is DaVinci. It's amazing, where, for example, if you are planning to specialize in surgery, you should from now be trained on how to use these robots instead of doing everything by your hands. So this will be part of the training for resident in the future, how to handle or how to do surgeries remotely. So this doctor, maybe he's doing the surgery in another center. So he's in a center, the patient is another center, but he's doing it. So this will save a lot of time, a lot of efforts, and it will be less expensive. Again, I will just go very fast with the other examples. So the multi-omics studies, and this is very fancy as well because this is my field. So there was this research done on taking blood sample from patients to find out if the patient has cancer or not, without going through biopsies, images, or whatever. And it is called CancerSeek from Johns Hopkins University. And it was really very sensitive to detect ovarian cancer, lung cancer, esophageal cancer, less sensitive for breast and colorectal. But actually now it is in the process of validation. So this is huge data. Each of them is in terabytes, and no human can handle them. But because AI algorithms is very good in handling big data, it was very helpful to find out and predict cancer in these patients. Radiomics, this is very fancy as well. I don't know if any of you wants to specialize in radiomics, but for example, if you see this picture, this is how we see it as human. But if you send it to a machine or to a computer, it will look at it as pixels. So the ear of the deer, you can see every single color, every single pixel has a color. Now the computer can read these pixels and convert them into histogram, into texture, and collect them. For example, if you take the CT scans or X-rays of patients, it can convert them into these different filtered information, and from them, combining them with clinical data and genomic data, it can give you a hint if the patient has cancer, non-cancer, without even doing any biopsy. It reached a stage where there is a study done on patients who are having lung cancer, and it was able to find even the genetic mutation without doing any genomic study. So all of this depends on how much data and how quality data you are feeding your system. It has been applied to so many organ imaging, and a lot of images were studied in dermatology, ophthalmology, pathology, and radiology, and they were leading a very good results. So I like this like a quote by assistant professor from Harvard, and it says, in 20 years from now, radiologists will not exist in anywhere near their current form. They might look more like cyborgs, supervising algorithms, reading thousands of studies per minute. So I think the future training and residency will involve largely like how to deal with AI algorithms and how to read and how to supervise these algorithms. So I will not go through this. These are our own projects here in Oman, implementing AI in clinical pathological parameter for breast cancer, colon cancer, and acute myeloid leukemia. Even research will have another jump. For example, Apple Research Kit involved, for example, Parkinson's disease. They were trying to see if the phone can predict the aggravating and relieving factor of Parkinson's disease. And basically, they were sending lots of questions to patients who are having Parkinson, and by their movement, they can figure out if they are having any aggravating or relieving factors. Same with track the onset of duration of seizure, and they were again giving the patient a watch that is connected to like mobile app with the doctor, and that will send immediately to the doctor if the patient has a seizure, how long it is, and what type of seizure he had. For example, another example is early diagnosis for autism. Again, they built in an app into the iPhone where it recognizes the face of the kid while he's playing. And based on his facial recognition, they can figure out if he's having any autistic feature or not. This is fancy, isn't it? And again, this is all research. It has not been implemented in the clinic. And they have a lot of apps for melanoma, concussion, postpartum depression, sleep health, and whatever. I'll leave this. Clinical trial also was touched by AI. So I'll just go briefly for this. The major problem with clinical trials actually is where we lose track of participants. So here they are doing this thing where they are giving every participant a bag. It's called digital doctor's bag. It has all the sensors needed for that particular study, and the patient should not, or the participant should not go to the hospital. It's enough for him just to open that bag, wear whatever wearable device has been given to him, and all data will be sent to the researchers. So since 2012, as I told you, since the discovery or the application of convoluted neural network, all research in AI in healthcare has been blooming, and it grows very exponential, especially in oncology, followed by nervous system and others. And from then, there are a lot of startups has started all over the world in different parts of healthcare. Some of them even reach FDA approval, like the Apple Watch ECG atrial fibrillation detection, as I mentioned to you. And the first one was arteries. I will not go through all of this, but you should be curious to know what is happening in each of them and how they reach the FDA approval. Arteries is very fancy because arteries is an MRI of the heart, and it was able to provide all information about all chambers of the heart within 15 seconds compared to 30 to 60 minutes when it is done by a human cardiologist. So you see how much time it will save you. And since it is FDA approved, it means that it reached the clinic and it's ready to be used by clinician. Here for retinal diabetic retinopathy, again, so previously the patient should go be examined by the doctor, then his retinal image will be taken, evaluated by the doctor. But nowadays with this, and this was approved actually by FDA, where the patient will go, he will find a machine, the machine will take a picture, give him a report. Then if there is anything, he will see a doctor. If nothing, he can go home. So it will save a lot of doctors' time and patients' trip to the hospital. And this one, I want you to try it actually. It is home triaging by Harvard, where you go, please remember this and go online and do it yourself. It is very nice. Where you go inside, you pick whatever symptoms, like for curiosity, I put headache, and then it starts taking history. Do you have this? Do you have that? Do you have this? Do you have that? And then at the end, it gives you 3 differential diagnoses, and it tells you what you should do. So it gives me tension headache, you can self-treat, and then what kind of self-treat you can get. Then TMJ dysfunction, and I need to go to the primary doctor, or it can be viral gastroenteritis, and it is self-treatment. So this is very good, and again, it helps in triaging patients from home. So with all of this, I'm concluding now. I'm sorry, I was very fast maybe, but whatever. So since we are having new data, we have a new method, do we need new training? So do you think your current medical education can meet this artificial intelligence blooming future in healthcare? Actually, we need to do a lot of transformation in our medical education. And I like this webinar by Harvard Medical School, which was raising this question, should we train MDs or should we train machines? And then the MDs, we train them how to do communication and be sympathetic with the patient, instead of filling them with lots of information. I advise you to watch this webinar. It's really nice and it was very informative. So everyone is asking, will robots replace doctors? And some of the old generation doctors, they refuse even the idea of AI because of this fear. Actually, it is not. The only doctor who will be replaced are the doctors who don't believe in it and who doesn't want to accept it in their field, but it's coming anyhow, within 5 years, within 10 years. So the relationship between AI algorithms, application, and the physician should be collaboration and mutual supportive relationship instead of competitive one. So medical school, what we need to change in medical school. So the curriculum should shift from feeding the student information toward how to manage knowledge and how to improve their communication skills. Then physician must be trained to manage and collaborate with AI and machine learning application instead of fighting right now. What we are seeing is a lot of fight. Then we should emphasize more, the emphasis should be more on how to interpret the output of AI and effectively utilize these results in clinical decision making. Because, for example, if there is an error, for example, the machine learning gives you an error judgment, will you be able to judge or will you follow it randomly, blindly? You should be able to know this is right or not, and if there is any ethical involvement in it. So I will conclude with this, that future medicine will be the medicine of frequencies, and in general, medicine has an art and it has a science. Maybe the science can be handled by AI, but the art of being a doctor will never be handled by a machine. So you need to stress on building your communication skills, your sympathetic abilities, and how to react with patients and interact with them. That's it. Thank you. Sorry if I was very fast and maybe I give you a lot of information, but if you have a question, you are welcome to ask. Questions? صراحة في الثياتر وايد أحلى. We interact, I see people, نادي بالأسماء، نحرق حد ما نحرق حد، هذا وايد حلو. أوكي.
تريدي نحرج حد يصير؟
بسويه.
لا. طيح فيني بعد السالفة.
So any question? Unfortunately, I don't know all the names. أنا أشوف زينب وأشوف مآثر، وأنت اسمك مدسكو ما طلع الاسم.
أسامة.
أسامة. يعني whatever. But what about the complication or the unexpected condition that occurred during operation? Can I handle it? Actually, this is a very good question where إحنا الآن نسوي survey to check if the physician and medical student are aware of what is happening with AI. أحيانا there will be a lot of unexpected condition. This is why we should teach our resident and our medical student on how to handle this conflict. sometimes you think this, for example, should go through, for example, this particular treatment or this particular management, but AI is giving you something way different. It can't fit. That means there is an error. So me as a doctor, I should not just follow whatever AI tell me randomly and blindly. I should have my own judgment. If I was not trained on it, I will not be able to. I will just trust AI. This is why this communication or interpretation of AI should be done earlier in your medical career. What's the future of AI in Oman in healthcare? Actually, it is coming. We have so many people who are believing in it, and already there is a big research doing mammogram reading or interpretation through AI, and it is giving good results. And we are doing the colorectal cancer and AML, and so far we are still in its infancy, but we are hoping it will give us something nice. Do you think patients will trust AI more than human doctors? والله الآن أشوف ال patients themselves when they come to the clinic, they give you their phones, they give you their watch. This is my pulse, this is whatever, they want to know information. So I think it's touching everyone. It's not only the medical field, it's touching everyone. So it is coming, and it's not coming through like bulks, it's coming as a whole. So with time they will. For example, we have people who has done surgery abroad and they did it by robot, and they are very happy that I was operated by a robot. So for them, it is something fancy. So I think, yes, they will accept it. For surgical reports, still there is possibility that it could stop working during surgery. Wallahi, the Da Vinci, for example, specifically, it's high-end robots. And so far, there is no such reports on its, what is it called? In its, المهم في شغله ولكن إيش after every surgery there is a lot of maintenance done for the machines, so they will not let the machine goes into the like patient goes into the surgery with the machine without being evaluated before, because this is very risky.
Sorry, doctor. Can we take one more question, and so we can move to the next point of the agenda? We can address the different questions in tomorrow's session. Or after tomorrow. Thank you, Dr. Fili, for your speech.
Whatever, thank you. I should appreciate your patience, and thank you for this invitation. And I was really happy that this young generation are interested in AI, and they were struggling with all the things that happened, and they are still producing something awesome. Thank you all, and keep going. بالتوفيق.
Thank you, doctor. It was amazing.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Adari. It was really interesting. And as you said, we are all interested in artificial intelligence. So thank you. Okay, let's be with Zainab to introduce Dr. Abdulrahman for us.
Thank you, Dr. Adari, for the great information you shared with us. Our next guest is an assistant professor from College of Applied Science, Nizwa, holding a PhD in artificial intelligence. We are honored to welcome Dr. Abdulrahman Al-Abdessalam to give us a short speech about the artificial intelligence from technological perspective. Please welcome Dr. Abdulrahman Al-Abdessalam.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here. Dr. Adari did very wonderful jobs and set the bar very high for me. So I'll try to be as much clear and as much informative as I can. Okay, so let me share my screen. Okay, I think everyone see my screen now, hopefully. Zainab, if you can confirm.
Yes, the screen is clear.
Okay, let me actually just put this in presentation mode. Okay. Yes, so my name is Abdulrahman Al-Abdessalam. I am assistant professor College of Applied Science, NISWA now is part of University of Technology and Applied Science, which was formed just last week or 2 weeks ago by Marsum Sultani. Okay, so the agenda of my talk is, I was expecting 10 minutes, so it would not be very long. So Dr. Adaris talked about artificial intelligence, and she said that machine learning is at the heart of artificial intelligence. So the field is broad, but most examples that you see nowadays, Siri, image recognition, whatever wearable devices that you are seeing in the market right now, they are using machine learning, which is a subfield of AI. So we will talk about that. We will talk about machine learning, and then I will give you some examples, and then we will talk about the process. Like if you have data, if you have images, it's not really difficult to train, to build your own artificial intelligence or machine learning model. So we will talk about that process as well. And then maybe I'll skip the applications and then just talk about some concerns at the end of the talk. Whoops. Okay, I think I skipped a few slides. Let me go back. Okay. Yeah, so you saw this before. So Dr. Adari showed you this diagram. So artificial intelligence is a big field which has machine learning in the center of it. And then within machine learning, also we have deep learning, which is using a specific type of algorithm called neural networks that are very efficient in recognizing images. So what is machine learning? A simple definition is we program the computer so that it basically understands examples. What that means basically is rather than going and writing rules, if we want to solve a problem, we say, if do that, then do this, then do that. We actually go about writing an algorithm that can take lots of data and the expected output that we need from that data, and then the machine figure out the relationship between the input, the actual data that we are feeding into the machine, and the output, the actual output that we want to find out. Okay. So that's a very simple definition. Let's look at an example. So this is not a realistic example. It's just a very simple one, just to make things clear. Let's say we want to write a program that can distinguish between apples and bananas in terms of two variables, height and diameter. So the input is just two numbers, height and diameter. And we want to find out if the input numbers are for an apple, for a real fruit apple, or a real fruit banana. And the conventional way on the right here, so it's a programmer conventional way. So if I want to write a program, I would basically look at the data. Imagine that you have an Excel sheet. You have, for example, hundreds of apples with their diameter and height. And then I'll look at the banana and their diameter and height. And then I will try to find some nice split. Apples would be bigger in diameter than bananas, right? Obviously, because bananas are very long and they have very small diameter. Okay, whereas bananas will be very long. Okay, so they will have much bigger height. So I'm going to try and find some kind of sweet spot there, a number that can allow me to split between apples and bananas. So maybe that sweet spot will be 8 centimeters. I would say if the diameter is more than 8 centimeters, then definitely this fruit is an apple. Okay, there is no need to basically examine the height. Okay, it doesn't make sense that we will have a banana that is so wide like that. Okay, so that would be basically an apple. On the other hand, if the diameter is less than 8 centimeters, then I'm going to examine the height, okay? And then I'm going to find another sweet spot, okay, looking at that data, and say, okay, if it's more than 10 centimeters, then most probably it's banana. We don't have an apple that is very, very long, that is longer than 10 centimeters, okay? And if the test is true, then banana. If the test is failing at this point, then we go to the last condition. Okay, and we say if the diameter is larger than 7, then it might be most likely banana, because it's long. Okay, otherwise then it's an apple. Okay, it's just that last condition is basically giving like a 50% chance on the data. So that would be the conventional way of going about writing a program. With machine learning, however, we are not actually doing this. What we do is we feed the machine all the data inputs. So we will feed it the height and the diameter. And then we will give it the labels. Imagine that this, for example, is one, the red, so red being a banana and blue being apple. So imagine this is basically one apple in my sample. Okay, and it has, for example, a diameter that is larger than 11. Okay, and it has, the diameter that is around 6 and a height that is around 11 centimeters. Okay, so what we are saying to the machine is this one instance of the sample data is an apple. Okay, and this is another apple, and this is another apple, and you see all the different apples here. You know, the different sizes, diameters, and height, and everything. And then we have all those bananas here. And then this is one way. This is one algorithm that will go about it in machine learning. And then the machine algorithm will basically try and see if we can split the data, if we can find a split within this two-dimensional space, by drawing a line, okay, which is not perfect, and that's expected of AI and machine learning is not perfect. It's basically 90%, 85%, 95% accuracy. People speak of those kinds of accuracies when they speak of AI and machine learning. So drawing that line and splitting those points, between that line, and then every point falls to the left of that line will be basically considered an apple. Okay, every point falling to the right of that line will be considered as a banana. Yeah. So that kind of basically the simple idea behind machine learning is that I'm not actually trying to find those split points or those if conditions and programming them into the machine directly, but I'm actually building a process. Building an algorithm, a process that basically try and discover the actual split or the actual sweet points within the data itself by looking at the data and examining it. Okay, I hope this example is clear and motivating. Yeah. Okay, so in general, machine learning can be divided into two major subfields also, supervised and unsupervised. Most of what you see nowadays, again, Siri, wearable devices, image recognition, most of the examples are basically supervised. And the meaning of supervised is we give the data and we give the expected outcome. Like, for example, we give it an image of a cat and we tell the machine, this is a cat. We give it an image of a dog and this is a dog. And that's basically supervised. Okay, so we're basically we are giving the machine many data points and giving them the examples. The other type, which is less common, and it's not something that I really work with, is unsupervised. And it's actually very useful also, specifically in the medical domain. And that basically is, rather than just giving the data and the answer, we just give the data without any answer. We don't know what we are looking for, actually. We just want the machine to figure out something for us from that data. For example, I think Dr. Adar gave you the precision medicine example. Let's say we have a population of patients who took some medicine over the course of 6 months, and we want to find out who basically benefited from that medicine, who got specific symptoms or adverse effects from that medicine. So we kind of, give the machine the ability to go through that collection of that data and cluster. You see here, for example, one example is cluster. So separate those patients into groups. One group that reacted to the medicine nicely, one group that had some side effects, another group that basically developed some other conditions, etc., etc. Okay, and there are other two examples with the association, which is basically finding relationships within similar data points, etc., etc. Okay, so that's unsupervised, less common. Still very useful, but this is not what you see in everyday life applications of AI. Supervised is what you see in everyday life. And you can divide supervised into classification and regression. Classification is basically category. So assigning a category. This is a cat, this is a dog, this is breast cancer, this is lung disease, I don't know, something like that. This is classification. The other type is regression. This is continuous outcome rather than a specific category. It's a number. So for example, how many days do we expect a patient to stay in this hospital if he has these kind of conditions or group of conditions? That's one example. For example, predicting the sales, okay, like how much sales, how much we will be selling, the quantity of this product will be sold in for example, in 1 month, more than 1,000 or 2,000. So you're basically assigning a specific number, continuous outcome. Okay. So these we will look at supervised in the rest of the presentation, and I'll give you 2 examples: classification and regression. Okay, so classification, as I think Dr. Adai mentioned earlier, so we feed the computer an image and we expect the computer to give us a category. Here, for example, I think is an image of a liver. Correct me if I'm wrong. And we're trying to figure out if this liver has some kind of developing some metastasis or tumors. So, by figuring out the location of that tumor and circling it on the right side. So the right side is the actual tumor. On this one here on the left side, this is actually very useful with the clinical records, with the clinical notes. And it's something that you probably haven't seen before, but the idea is that we want also the computers to be able to read doctor's notes. So we want the AI algorithm, the machine learning algorithm, to go about discovering those notes for a patient and finding out what is this complaint of this patient, what are the problems, what kind of treatment the patient has been given in the past, and organize them in a kind of structured data. Remember the unstructured, structured data that Dr. Adari talked about in her presentation? So unstructured would be this clinical note, as you can read it as a doctor, and the structured would be basically the actual, pieces of text that you see here highlighted. The problem, the treatment, the test, and the value of that test, etc., etc. Okay, so this is also considered a type of classification because the computer is reading one word at a time and trying to figure out if this word is basically is a treatment or it's basically a section header, for example, in this case here, or it's something else that can be assigned a label, as it basically reads this note. So I have worked a lot in the past on this. In my degree, I worked with the clinical notes and classification of text in my doctorate. Oops. So a regression example. We said that regression is about predicting a continuous outcome. So let's say, for example, I want to predict the percentage of fat on a patient based on their BMI, body mass index. Okay. So we plot body mass index and the outcome, which is the percentage of fat, and then we try to fit this line. You see this line here? Basically, this line is going to be my predictor, the model that is basically trying to predict. So more BMI means more percentage, more fat. Okay, the trend is easy. But then, you can have a line like this, and you can have a line like this that is not very nice. Okay, this line is basically trying to, be as nice as possible by covering a wide range of samples, covering the spectrum of samples here. And this is the formula for the line here. Another example is predicting the length of stay, as I said, based on the conditions, on previous medical conditions. Okay, so let's look at how you go about training your own machine learning. And there are many good tools, by the way, online that you can use to train machine learning algorithms. And the process is simple and not really very difficult. All you need to know is just how to load files and how to basically work with the simple API. It's not very difficult. I mean, it would be difficult if you have to deal with very specialized tools, but there are some tools that are user-friendly and can be used easily to build some machine learning models. Okay, so the idea is that you collect your data. Okay, let's say, for example, documents or images or whatever. Okay, and you feed it to some machine learning algorithm. Okay, with the actual outcomes, the labels. The labels are basically outcomes. Okay, so for example, images of lungs and the outcome, for each image. So each image, for example, one of the images is basically, I don't know, some specific disease of lung. I can't think of an example, sorry. But you get the idea. So one image, one label, one image, one label. Okay, for each image, let's say 1,000 images, 1,000 labels go into the machine learning algorithm. The algorithm produces an output of a model, okay, machine learning model, which then you have to measure the performance of that model. So you want to take that model, the output from the machine learning algorithm, and see how well it is doing. And how you do that, you bring another set of data. So you don't use the same data because that data already been used. You have to use another set of data and feed it into this predictive model, to the model that was produced by the algorithm, and then see the outcome, the label, and then compare the outcome, the label from the model with the actual label, with the true label. Okay, and then you measure the performance. So you have accuracy, you have many other measurements that you can use. Error, for example, the error margin. Okay, how many labels the algorithm got wrong, how many labels the algorithm got right, etc., etc. Okay, so we call this training data. Okay, the data that is fed to the machine learning algorithm so that we can produce a training model, and we call this the testing data. And there is also a validation data that we will talk about in the next slide, in the next few slides. Okay. So this is basically showing you an example in the medical field. So you have, for example, you go through the phase of training. Okay, so you have, for example, I think those are pathology slides, right? And you have some normal tissue, and you have some tumor, some tissue with tumor. So you feed the machine both samples, okay, the normal and the images with the tumor, okay, and then the algorithm is going to produce a model for you, which you can use on a new data set. Okay, so you bring a new data set and you try the algorithm, and then the algorithm is going to produce an output. Okay, for example, the output could be actual label saying this is basically normal, this is not normal, or it can be some kind of heat map, a probability that this region, for example, is highly likely a tumor, this region is less likely to be a tumor, etc. Okay, and then you can measure the performance of your model. Okay, so now we talked about training and testing. Most machine learning algorithms now also require you to do validation. Yeah, I mean, it's something that is nice to do because it allows you to basically make sure that your model, the model that you're producing, is basically something that is good for the final task. Okay, so the idea is, again, you collect data and you train the model, but while training, for example, during training, you actually also testing the model on validation data, okay, hand by hand. So you're doing this together. Two and three steps are done together. Okay, so you train, for example, for one iteration, one full circle, and then you test your model on the validation data, and then you train, and then you test your model on validation. As long as you see improvements in both, in the validation and the training, you continue training. As long as you see some improvement in training, then no improvement in validation, then you have to stop, because you have to figure out there is something wrong with your data or something wrong with your algorithm or something. You have to basically do something, or maybe you have reached some stage where you cannot do any better. Then you can basically go and test your model on the actual testing data and confirm that this is basically the best model that I can get from the training and validation data sets. Okay, another phases that would probably be also relevant in clinical scenarios and other scenarios is you actually use the model, right? Because all of this is experiment, you know, training, validation, and testing. All of this is basically in the lab. But then you have to put this model into practice. You have to give it to doctors, to nurses, and let them use it. And then you have to figure out if the model is basically changing, you know, after a while, after a few months. And then you have to readapt and, you know, go back and select some new data elements and train it again and again and again. Okay, so it can be a continuous process in that kind of sense. Okay, so I talked about this briefly. So this is important actually. When you actually train a machine learning model, an AI model, you have to be careful, because there is a scenario where you basically can train and train and train, and there is improvement. Whereas in real sense, there is improvement on training data, but there is actually this, you know, this improvement in actual separate data on validation data. Okay, and that is actually important in machine learning science. You have to basically pick a point where you say, stop, no more training, because I am not improving here. You know, I'm actually decreasing the score or the accuracy of the model. So that's the point where I have to stop, for example, and say enough. You know, I cannot basically continue. If you actually do continue, then you will end up with something called overfit model. An overfit model is a model that is very nice on your training data. It gives you perfect answers, but on new data, on new testing data, it just gives you lamely false answers, because it's basically, you know, if we go back to the apple and banana example, for example, maybe the line is here, for example. Okay, so the line perfectly is like this, you know, it's basically walking through the points and you know, perfectly separating the apples and bananas on the training. But then when a banana shows up, for example, on this side here or on this side here, basically misclassify that banana to apple. Okay, so I'm going to go through this very briefly. So of course, any field has some challenges, and with machine learning, we have so many challenges. Some of the challenges that I can think of is the quality data. We need to have some really good quality data so that we can train some good models. We have lack of resources and infrastructure, specifically with deep learning, with neural networks. When we talk about terabytes of data or gigabytes of data, and, you know, huge resources that are needed to basically build models that can do something like what we see in Siri, for example, or in wearable devices coming from the outside. So we need actually some big infrastructure to basically accommodate those kinds of demands from the data and the model. And also expertise. So I think we need to, and I'm actually trying to be part of an initiative to create a data science group and AI group here in Oman, and you know, try and educate each other and help each other, and you know, bring expertise into the Sultanate by, you know, forming this kind of group. But it's still you know, ongoing effort, and hopefully we can see something in the near future. Okay, so why we need to capture data, because, you know, we can build so many good, nice things for the medical domain. Just capturing and storing data reflecting various medical care is important. Documenting the you know, patient's experience, doing whatever you do as a doctor, as a nurse, to basically make sure that the data is accurate and reflecting the actual care given to the patient. Okay, resources, infrastructure. As I said, we need some high performance computing clusters, some GPUs, graphics processing units. These are needed for images. Expertise, data scientists and AI engineers are in high demand all around the world. So we probably we will be scoring something if we have some in-house experts who can participate also in international settings. Okay, another thing that probably we have to think about is whether AI is cost effective. Sometimes it costs a lot of money to develop AI algorithms, and whether that can be justified, for the kind of application that we are trying to develop. So someone has to be careful about that. I don't have enough experience to really say for sure for the medical domain, but there are concerns that should be taken into account when you think of AI and medical applications. Okay, so maybe I have, another thing is the privacy issues. So we're dealing with patients, and I'm sure you guys, are well educated, and you have signed lots of, you will be basically considering the patient privacy. So when you actually train AI models, you are basically releasing lots of data about patients. So you have to be careful about, that data. So before this data can be used in AI, it has to be anonymized, changed, or remove the name or anything, or can be stored securely so that nobody can access them or use them, or basically abuse them for that matter. Okay. And also we have legal issues. So if the machine makes a mistake, who is responsible here? Okay, is it the doctor who basically pushed the button so that the machine can give him an answer? Is it the nurse, or what? So we need to have some clear regulations also around that. And this is actually very challenging. Lots of organizations around the world, universities, are working together to figure out legal boundaries about the applications of AI and their effect on people, and how they can be perceived if a machine makes a mistake or causes a life to be lost, which is probably expected. So with more awareness for users, for people who use those applications, and with the clear regulations, things will be nice in the future. Okay, so I'm going to skip this. Thank you. So that was, sorry, I took, I think, more than 10 minutes. But hopefully everyone benefited from this. Thank you very much. If you have any questions, let me know.
Thank you, Doctor.
Thanks. Thanks a lot, Doctor.
You're welcome.
All right, I think everything was clear, so no questions, maybe.
Okay. Okay, thank you very much then. I wish everyone good luck. Please feel free to contact me. Dr. Adari can give you my email. If you have any questions, any thoughts or anything, feel free to send me an email. Thank you very much.
All right, thanks, Doctor. Thank you, Doctor. Okay, now we're back to videos. The video that you liked first, now is the continuation. Let's see together. Okay. Again, please, if you close your video so that the share screen can manage well. Okay, let's see. I'm sorry.
ترى ايش رايك بالشكل بس؟
تو هذا الاختراع.
يب فنان. لا اعرف تقدر تمدحني تو.
يعني مخليني اقطع شوط في الشمس عشان اشوف لعبة ساعة بنتين اللي مخترع عنها حليب. صدق انك تافه.
آسف واجد لأني خليتك تجي في الحر، بس أنت ما أعطيتني فرصة أشرح لك.
ها؟ إيش تقول؟
هذه ما ساعة عادية، هذه ساعة طبية. اصبر شوي وبتشوف، براويك الحين كيف يشتغل اختراعي. مرحبا سيفتي.
مرحبا يا زن، كيف لي أن أساعدك؟
أريدك تسوي فحص طبي بشكل سريع وبسيط.
علم، أرجو توجيه الكاميرا أمام الشخص المطلوب.
أوه يا زن، تعرف إيش تسوي صح؟ لو كان هذا مقلب ترى ما يضحك.
حسام مسختها تراك، أنا قاعد وما جالس أمزح معك.
ستبدأ عملية المسح الطبي الآن. انتهى المسح الطبي.
حسام خلاص خلصنا، افتح عيونك له.
ها وش صار؟
سيفتي خلصت تسوي لك المسح قبل شوي.
انتهت عملية فحص البيانات.
الحين بتشوف الجزء المحمس أكثر. سيفتي عرض الفحص الحالي.
عرض الملف الطبي لنتيجة الفحص الحالي. Blood pressure 118/78 millimeter mercury. Pulse rate 60 per minute. Hemoglobin level 15.7 gram per deciliter. Temperature 37.2 degrees Celsius.
شفت كيف؟ خبرتك إني ما أمزح، هذا اختراع حقيقي. ها الحين إيش تقول؟ يكون خفت لما فحصتك الساعة؟ كان قبل علي أخبر.
خطير رهيب، أنت فنان.
ذيك كانت نفض حماس. الله يهديك، خوفتني. الحمد لله أن عقبك.
لا بصراحة هذه الساعة شيء ثاني من الآخر، يعني تفهم تتكلم نفسنا وتحلل المعلومات بسرعة مثل الروبوتات. لكن وش هي بالضبط؟
هذه الساعة فيها برنامج حاسوبي عند السلوك وخصائص معينة تخليه حاكي القدرات الذهنية البشرية، ومثل ما أنت شفت خاصية القدرة على التعلم والاستنتاج ورد الفعل لأي حالة صحية تفحصها أو أنت تسألها عنها عالية ودقيقة. بمعنى آخر هذه الساعة مثال للي يسموه الذكاء الاصطناعي.
Well, listen, that's the first time I see these videos. Okay, let's go with the other one. Let me just see your thoughts about the videos. Oh, جميل، شغل عدل. الممثلين مطلوبين. Nice. Okay, then I'll do a poll also. Okay, then let's see the other video. Before we start our games, okay, I hope you are ready for games now. اوكي، تجمعنا غير. يا زينب، يا شاستات.
Before we end up our ceremony, we would like to break out your silence with a short game with our friend Fatma. If you don't want to attend, you are free to leave.
I think all want to play games. Will not take much of your time. So, yeah. Where's Fatma? If you can talk, so that I give you.
Sorry to interrupt. Somewhat, I think the President Ali, Wardi, you are raising your hand due to speak.
Maybe that was from.
I forgot. It was from before. Thank you.
Okay, nice. All videos open. We can see many faces, but only the first page. We have 7 pages. It's not enough at all. I said maybe 50 or maybe 100 participants will open. Okay. Oh, all right. Let's go through the names. Khalid, Maha, Musa, Ruqayya, Abdullah, Ghadir, Suha. Team event, Layla. Okay. Dua, Abdul Rahman, Ammar, Ayman, Malak, Alwa, Amal, Oh my god. واجد اسمع ما بنخلص بناخذ غير ساعة. Yeah, okay. 2 pages. Okay, it's enough for the beginning, but for the sessions, for the others, it's not accepted. We'll need more. Okay, shall we start the game? Where's Fatma? Maybe muted. Unmute yourself.
سامي لو تقسمها بتسوي بريك اوت روم.
Okay. Okay, Zainab, you will present the game or Fatma?
فاطمة.
لا احنا أكثر من شخص يعني كل شخص بيمسك مجموعة.
Okay, all right. Then I'll
do breakout rooms and random them.
Yeah, I'll open breakout rooms and random. There will be 36 participants in each room. So try to manage yourselves and have a good time. I'll open the rooms and then I'll let the coordinators join with you as well. Okay, you can join. You can join your rooms. Okay, Yaqeen is with breakout room 3. Fatma is with breakout room 4. Yeah. Saleh will be with breakout room 1. Okay. So all of the participants left, you all can join your breakout rooms. And yeah. Zainab.
نعم.
ما في حد في breakout room 2 فمين المفروض يكون؟
هم غدير ويقين وفاطمة وصالح.
غدير موجودة في هذا الروم ولا دخلت روم معين؟
ما أعرف صراحة.
غدير يمكن طلعت. خلاص زينب روحي على ذاك الجروب ولا تكملي هنا في هذا الجروب وأنا أروح معك.
صالح أنت تدخل الجروب أنا حطيتك أوريدي في الجروب.
أي جروب؟
زينب breakout room هذاك تقدر تدخل.
أي واحد؟
ما أعرف ما ذكر أي واحد بس ادخل أنت breakout room 1.
ما هو هذا؟
أيوه لا ما هو هذا تقدر تدخل تسوي join. اوكي اللي باقين تقدروا تدخلوا بريك اوت رومز. مريم، منار، كوثر، آفاق، سعد، فاطمة، خديجة، خولة، مريم، أسماء، ريم، أيمن. تقدروا تدخلوا بريك اوت رومز. حطيتكم في رومز بس سووا جوين.
أوكي مستعدين؟ اللعبة بتكون بأطرح سؤال ما تجاوبوا ما أعرف أي إجابة بس ما تكون يعني ما أعرف. من يريد يشارك؟ الأسئلة ما صعبة يعني، جاوب أي إجابات حتى لو غلط، بس أهم شيء ما أعرف ما أدخل.
زينب، أتوقع
نعم.
اللي هنا ما جالسين يردوا، فأنا بوديش بريك أوت روم 2، تقدري تدخلي عندهم.
أوكي.
سوي جوين. أيوة سوي جوين هناك ينتظروا ثم.
wait.
أوكي. اللي ما دخل بريك أوت رومز أو عنده مشكلة خليه يقول لي. زين. اوكي شكل الجروب هذا خلص يلعب.
أسامة أنا
هلا.
أقترح نلعب. أنت ما كنت أمس. زين يقينتي معنا صح أمس؟ إيه أوكي فتلعبيهم لعبة أمس مال هذا من زليخة.
جالسة أتكلم وأنا ميوت. مال لعبة زليخة اللي من أسرع شخص يجيب شيء.
أيوة
أوكي.
اوف هاي اللعبة خطيرة، لازم الكل يفتح فيديوهات. أنا بسكر البريك أوت رومز الحين. خلاص تحمست أنا، بس أنا لا تطلبي مني شيء.
ترى لازم حد يرشح نفسه حال المسابقة، نختار 3 أو 4 أشخاص.
أوكي.
ممكن حتى أكثر. زين ننتظر البقية ولا ممكن نبدأ الحين؟
جالس يرجع البقية.
أوكي.
خلاص تقريبا الكل ولا بعد صبر؟
أسامة الله يسامحك ما لحقنا نودعها.
خويش تودعهم. ودعهم هنا.
اوكي خلاص مع السلامة.
زين يلا اعتقد الكل وصل. الكل وصل يلا. يقين.
زينب.
زين
اوكي
يقين.
اوكي الحين بنلعب لعبة زيادة. اوكي بنلعب لعبة زيادة للي يعني يريد يبقى معانا في الألعاب. نريد 3 أشخاص أو 4 عادي، خلينا نزيد العدد. أوكي 4 أشخاص يرشحوا نفسهم للعبة. أوكي 5 يلا نزيد. نريد 5 يرشحوا نفسهم اللي ممكن يخبرنا، ممكن في الشات، لكن شرط اللعبة إن تكونوا فاتحين الفيديو.
يلا حلو.
مصطفى موجودة.
بريزيدنت يعني شو اسمه، بنحطك آخر واحد لو في بقية يريد. يلا راشد.
إذا خبريهم اللعبة عشان يتحمسون أكثر.
أوكي. أيوة
أوكي سو اللعبة نحن اللي بيرشحوا نفسهم بنطلب منهم يجيبوا الشيء من البيت، يكونوا فاتحين الفيديو ونطلب منهم مثلا يعني نقول لهم جيبوا غرشة ماي، بس ما بيكون شيء سهل كذا، بيكون شيء أصعب. وأول شخص يجيب الغرض اللي نطلبه يفوز، يحصل نقطة يعني. فكذا على ما نوصل 5 أشياء ونشوف من يفوز، من يحصل، من يجمع أكثر نقاط.
أعطوني دقيقة أجمع أغراض من البيت وأحطها في غرفتي.
سوي نفس عمار.
زين
يلا عاش.
ما جمعت شيء، كل شيء موجود هنا.
زين معنا 105 أشخاص هنا.
خلي كل حد.
زين كل حد.
خلي كل حد اللي يريد، والله خلي يختبص الروم.
اوكي خلاص.
اوكي يلا.
زليخة سوي لي واسطة.
كل حد يمسك صفحة وسامع عشان نشوف.
يلا اوكي.
يلا زين. بس
يقين
لحظة لازم نكون شايفين.
زين حلو.
بغش من زليخة الأشياء اللي قالتها زليخة أمس.
اوكي.
ستيثوسكوب.
جائزة تسوى ما عليك عبد الخالق، جائزة
ما
تسوى.
يصير معي.
عمار
عاش راشد. عاش عمار مرة على طول.
ما معي ستيثوسكوب.
أنا ما قادرة أشوف كل حد.
روان بعد. اوكي نعرف الصفحة الثانية. روان بعد
طلعت. كسلانة أروح الغرفة أدور عليها.
أنا مالي ضايع.
عبد الرحمن مسكر لكن البوكس ماله.
إنزين من اللي أول شيء جاب؟
ما مشكلة، خلي الكل. أنت حطي التشالنج مين يلحق أول.
لا أوكي زين، أنا ما شفت من اللي وصل للستيثوسكوب ماله أول شيء.
أنا جبتك.
في حد ركز؟
أنا شفت عمار وراشد.
يا جماعة عمار ما محسوب.
عمار ما محسوب. أوسي خلاص. يلا راشد عجب.
ليش ما محسوب أنا؟
غشاش عندك كل شيء.
ايوه
عمار جالس في وسط كل الأمور تقولوها.
صراحة ما ذنبي بأن كل شيء في الغرفة.
يلا
ميثم يلا عليك
ده أغرب لون
علي ثاني؟
ستيثوسكوب.
زين
أيوة.
يلا علي زين معجون اسنان.
ايوه
معجون اسنان.
انت برضه حق معجون اسنان.
ميثم
يا ويلي.
ما اعرف ليش موجود في طاولتي لكن اوكي.
مؤيد شكلك تفرش قدام الويش كمبيوتر.
ما شاء الله حتى عبد الرحمن.
ما اعرف ليش موجود اصلا.
مصطفى وين راح؟
وانا مستانس الحمام قريبه وين؟
واحد يا فرشاه. من
مؤيد حاط مكتبه هناك فيها كل شيء شكله.
مكان المذاكره في كل شيء لازم ترى.
أي حد مضيع شيء بيحصله هناك.
يلا مين اللي ورا؟
يقين لا
بعد شيء يلا يقين. وش في شيء؟ هذا شيء واجد سهل المفروض الكل يحصله. هلا اقول انا؟
يلا.
قل.
قلم.
قلم.
شوف الشاشه كيف صارت يا ربي. هاي والله لازم زيني مسوي ريكورد. زين
مال الحبر لازم ما ينحسب. أشوف واجد حبر.
هو ما حدد ترى حبر اساس خلاص.
شكل عندك مكتبه عندك.
ما شاء الله عمار صار قبة المسجد.
نحط اخر شيئين عشان خلاص نختم.
ايش تقول؟
اخر شيئين
عشان اول قبة المسجد انت.
هذا طال عمرك.
راشد يقول لكم يلا معقم.
اوكي تو شيء انا عندي.
راشد كتب.
راشد كتب. وش كتب؟
معقم.
معقم. يلا معقم.
عندي سبراي.
ما شاء الله. شوف دائما ميد عنده شيء غير. راشد ما يصير انت قايل انت تحط عقب دوك تلفون. زين اخر شيء شيء فنان. هذا اذا انتم سامعيني عدل في الترايل بتعرفوا. يلا اول واحد يغير الفيرتشوال باك جراوند ماله.
انا مغير خلاص.
غيرته.
ما يعرف الكلام ما يعرفوا.
هذه في سان فرانسيسكو.
لحظة أنا أعرف كيف.
أنا بعد ما أعرف.
عمار.
أنا ما عندي لون موحد أنا عشان.
لا شوف في الفيديو تحت في عندك هذا السهم الارو تضغط عليه وتسوي تشوز فيرتشوال باك جراوند بعد غير براحتك.
أنا ستوب فيديو.
لازم جرين سكرين؟ لا ما لازم جرين سكرين عادي يصير. اعتقد كذا نكتفي. صالحة
ايش؟
خلاص نختم عشان نعطيهم مجال الحديث.
ايوه
اوكي تمام. عجب. مشكورين زينب. اختمي.
And here we reach to the end of our ceremony. We wish you a very wonderful time in your sessions. Thanks all for attending our meeting.
انتظركم كلكم في السيشنز.
ثانك يو زينب. بس ايوه ملاحظة انه السيشنات اجلت الى 5 إلا ربع عشان تاخذوا بريك.
المفروض متغدين وجايين.
احنا فطور وما فاطرين.
زين اوكي.
عاملينها صوب.
ملاحظة اللي بقوا بعدهم ما طلعوا شو اسمه بنرسل اللينكات مرة ثانية وكل واحد يدخل على اللينك مال السيشن ماله. مشكورين جميعا. هذا اللينك بيكون مفتوح. هذا اللينك بيكون حال السيشنات مال السكور. سكورب بيدخل هنا في هذا اللينك. سكورب وحاب يجلس فحياه الله.
هذا بيكون سكورب يعني؟
ايه
هذا بيكون سكورب يعني؟
ايوه هنا بالمين روم بنستخدم حال سكورب بعد. ايوه ميثم
لا